on my computer is a joke, on my hard drives. I have numerous. And I thought, I wonder if you'd be interested in seeing them. Now, I'm not going to show you them all at once, because honestly, the batteries would run out, you'd fall asleep, and I would get tired of going through them. So what I thought I'd do, I'm going to do the albums that begin with the letter A. The beginning ones, all the albums, all different artists, but the albums beginning with A. I'm doing this for two reasons, really. A, I fancy doing a ramble, and I've got no new vinyls because I'm not allowed to buy any now because Christmas is too close. And otherwise I'll spoil it for other people trying to get me presents that I really want. So apart from obviously the Beatles turning up, I can't be buying no records at the moment. Yeah. But I kind of understand, but it's October. I'm not going to start an argument. Anyway, so. Also, I've learned how to do a little bit of screen capture, which will ultimately make the channel a little bit better. That's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go through, I'm going to be using Kodi. That's what I use, you know, I watch my films on, play my music on most of the time, etc. So I'll be going through it, my music on Kodi, starting with A. Obviously, if people are interested, I'll end up going through B, C's, etc., etc. If not, I won't bother. It's just a test, really, and just to see. So, should we jump into it? Obviously, start off with Oasis. Oh, it's because of the brackets. What's the story, Morning Glory? 1995. Wow. Great album. They stormed it, smashed it in the 90s, didn't they, really? Greatest hits, Phil Collins. That's his best album so far, if you ask me. Still his debut. Loved the song The A-Team. The Beatles. One. Still not got that in my vinyl collection yet, but it's in the collection, so I look forward to that. But it's the greatest hits one, really. 3 Feet High and Rising. De La Soul. Honey, Honey. Heard them on Joe Rogan, really like the sound of them, so I thought I'd give them a go. Got that one for the wife. Body Snatchers, bit of jazz with Horace Silver. And Madness 7, their third album. Always reminds me of when I was young. This is a double disco, this one, with some bonus material. Soundtrack to 9.5 Weeks. Had a really good soundtrack. Probably better than the film, although I quite like the film back then in 1988. You'll notice in my library I do have a lot of movie soundtracks. Quite a lot. A lot of them Italian horror films, unbelievably enough. But it is what it is. Damien Rice, 9. Is that the one with... No, it wasn't. It was the O, wasn't it? Buddy Holly. Simon and Garfunkel. Love them. 2010. 22 Dreams, Paul Weller. Bit of an unusual one, this one, for Paul Weller, but it was kind of cool. Herb Halbert. His trumpet. Quite liked a bit of that. Bit of Northern Soul. Strange cover to that one. The 25 best songs. I'm sure that must be something dodgy. But I do have a lot of Who in my collection. Jaguar Skills, 30 years of hip hop squeezed into 1 hour, that was. Hank Williams. Don't know why I've got that. There's one track that I really liked. The 45 RPM, the singles of. Gotta have a bit of Elvis in your library, ain't you? Charles Bukowski. 100 hits, Chaz and Dave. Dean Martin, Frank and Love. Must have been going through a bit of a 100 hits phase. The 100 Miles and Running EP by NWA. Bit of boy music. Soundtrack to 300. I do like The Beautiful South. 62 to 66. And some early Pink Floyd, Cambridge Station. Beatles. I haven't got that one on vinyl yet. It's nice though, isn't it? Some more of the Pink Floyd box set. I haven't played all that. I've got to get round to having a listen to it all. There's quite a lot involved though. Oh, Oi, the album. 1999. Made in 1983. Haha. That's a long time ago now. Dr. Dre's 2001. A bit of Ian Jury. 30 Seconds to Mars, A Beautiful Lie. Ah, these are good. Really like the song The Kill. The music video is very much like The Shining. Video was just like it. And Jared Leto, the guy in the middle there, he's actually a really good actor. And he was in the movie Chapter 27, where he played Mark Chapman, the psycho that killed John Lennon. Bloody good actor. He put on loads of weight for it and all. He was also in another favourite of mine called Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, but this is a really good album actually. They're good. Check out, if you get a chance, check out 30 Seconds to Mars, The Kill, and see if you can recognise The Shining. Maximo Park. Bit of Christmas music, Phil Spector and some Motown. Pink Floyd's a collection of great dance songs. A great title and an awesome cover. I always like the Pink Floyd covers. They do look great, don't they? Thinking about getting some sort of wall art with all their album covers on. A Comfortable Man, Cathal Smith. Cathal Smith is actually Chaz Smash from Madness. Now he's left. Nothing like Madness's music, but it was alright. Laura Marling, I have a few of her. She's good. A Creature I Don't Know. Another classic album, A Day at the Races, Queen. I have this and I've got a couple of Queen albums in here, but I've certainly got A Night at the Opera, and they were both named after Marx Brothers movies. Johnny Dowd, A Drunken Masterpiece. Now, I was introduced to Johnny Dowd by Tom Waits. Not personally mine, unfortunately. Tom done a compilation album for a magazine like Mojo, one of them sort of, and he'd done a compilation, and one of the songs from Johnny Dowd was on there. And I really liked it, so I picked up a couple of his albums. He's good. Left Field, not really into them so much now, but Foot in the Door, Best of Pink Floyd. A Funk Odyssey, Jamiroquai. I went for a period of really liking him. Joe Dolan. Street's second album, follow up to original Pirate material, which should also be in this library. Mike Flowers Pop. Oh, how funny was that? He done like a Austin Powers type 60s sort of music to Wonderwall. You got to check it out. It was well good, and I remember it charting back in '96, and had to have it. Oh, A Guided Tour to Madness, which is pretty much from the beginning, the Prince and the two-tone era, right the way through to the Libby and Norton Folgate, I do believe. A Hard Day's Night, with the decent opening chord. A Little Spice, Loose Ends. That was around in the 80s, but I always thought their music sounded so much better, quality-wise, than everyone else's. John Coltrane, I Love Supreme. Man of Value, Lou Rawls. I don't know why it's blacked out like that. Momentary Lapse of Reason, Pink Floyd. Look at that cover. And that wasn't photoshopped back in 1987. This is the first album after Roger Waters left, so it's not bad. It's not the Division Bell, and it's not obviously Animals and all the classics, but it was good. A Night at the Opera. There you go. The second in the Queen. Around about mid-70s. Another soundtrack to A Nightmare on Elm Street by Charles Bernstein. All that equipment around him. I mean, that guy, he's involved, isn't he? Probably got that little watch on the side there, remind him to come off. Jeeps. Bit of smog. You'll find I like a bit of smog in my collection. A River Ain't Too Much to Love. Pink Floyd's second single, 1968. Pink Floyd's second album, 1968, A Saucer Full of Secrets. This is the Syd Barrett's right at the end with Jug Band Blues. Yeah. Still a good album though. Beats Antique, A Thousand Faces, Act 1, and A Thousand Faces, Act 2. Nightmares on Wax, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Abattoir Blues, Abbey Road. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Abbey Road EP. Absolutely Madness, and this is a double discer like the other one. So, Achtung Baby, U2. John Lennon, acoustic. Bit of Desmond Decker. Bit of ska. Derek and Clive, Ad Nauseam. Don't know if you know, Derek and Clive were Dudley Moore and Peter Cook. And in the mid-70s, they'd meet up and do like a recording of themselves in character as Derek and Clive. And it's coarse. It's funny, but it's really coarse. Adrenaline Rush Twister, not really into that no more. Coco Rosie, these are unusual band, quite nice though. My daughter Emily introduced me to them. African Herbsman, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Got quite a few Bobs in here. Bit more Northern Soul. The Age of Consent by Bronski Beat. I remember that coming out, 1984. Kings of Leon, Alas I Cannot Swim, more Laura Marling, and the excellent soundtrack by Sonny Rollins to Alfie, the 1966 Michael Caine movie. Great music. Tom Waits' Alice, 2002. Soon to be had on vinyl. Daft Punk, Professor Green. I think that was a Short Street song, wasn't it? There weren't a lot to that. All My Cons, a Jam. Free, All Right Now, which is like the best of. U2. Tina. I know. Paul McCartney. All the Best. It's a nice compilation album. And All the Best, Stiff Little Fingers. Now, if you like Green Day, check out Stiff Little Fingers. Very similar sounding, but Stiff Little Fingers was out in 1983. Another Tina, All the Best. I don't know why they was apart, but Passenger. All Things Must Pass, George Harrison. Awesome. My Sweet Lord. LL Cool J. Almost Blue. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Unbelievable Truth. Goldmaster All Stars. A little bit of ska. Lily Allen. Lily. Why'd you have to get political? Shame. Arctic Monkeys. Brian Eno. Some cool music on there. American Psycho soundtrack. America's Most Wanted, Ice Cube after he left NWA, his first album. Radio Ahead. Amused to Death, Roger Waters. Brilliant. An American Werewolf in London. Now, I actually sourced all different tracks and put this one together myself, and it's the complete version, including Bobby Vinton, all of them, Van Morrison, Creedence Clearwater Revival, as well as the Elmer Bernstein score. So I was really pleased at putting that together, and it's quite hard to get hold of. Old J and Awesome Wave, an introduction to Syd Barrett, Angles by the Strokes, Animals. Still not got it on vinyl. I can hear you go, what? I know, it's an awesome album. Monty Python, yes, I do have a few of those, as well as this man, Bob Dylan. Can't knock a bit of Bob Dylan. Anthologies. Look at that, it looks awesome, doesn't it? Fowl's Antidote, Mr. Vandross. The soundtrack to Cannibal Apocalypse. Quite like this one actually. Had John Saxon in the movie. Apocalypse Now. Obviously that opens up with Jim Morrison and the Doors. The End. Apples by Ian Dury. Jimi Hendrix. Argy Bargy by Squeeze. Can't beat a bit of Squeeze either. Bit of Call for Cats and Up the Junction. Classics. Ben. Another Elvis Costello. Around the World in a Day by Prince and the Revolution. Beautiful. 1985. I bought that on vinyl when it first came out. As Good as It Gets. Hans Zimmer. I went down on a plane a couple of years ago, Hans Zimmer. Bless him. But I love this film. Jack Nicholson was awesome in it. Actually, they're always good. It's one of them films I put on when I feel a little bit raw. Like with Now and I could just put it on and it put me in a good place. Elbow. Astral Weeks, Van Morrison. Awesome. Etta James, the best of. Lou Rawls at last. The Flaming Lips at War with the Mystics. There's this one, and there's another album of them that I've got that I absolutely love. It's got Yoshimi versus the Robots on it. I can't remember now, but it's in the library. The classic 1975 album, Atlantic Crossing by Mr. Rod Stewart. I had that on CD. Mum got me that back in '87. Heart Mother, Pink Floyd. Atomic Calf. This is funny. This is singing all like gospel-y type music and all that lot. All about how good the atomic bomb is. Atomic Calf. And number 2. Talking of Austin Powers, the soundtrack to The Spy Who Shagged Me. And the soundtrack to Hitchhike, or Autostop as it says here. Music by Ennio Morricone, and it stars David Hess, who was in people that know the video Nasties will know David Hess. He was the baddie in The Last House on the Left and House on the Edge of the Park, and actually he was a songwriter as well for people that didn't know, and he wrote All Shook Up, the Elvis single. James Morrison, The Awakening. Not really absorbed that one. I liked his first album a lot. And finally, Axis Boulder's Love, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, 1967. Wow, I can't believe how many A albums I have. This could take a long time.